Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do the usual disclaimers, if you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shacks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center does not want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article, share on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC actually does ever see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. Will we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School for Boys? You're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please go ahead and utilize the headphones. Trigger warning 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised. And I still got that rash on my back, folks, so you might see me reach back every so often to kind of rub it gently there. Response. The FDA agrees that some panel members upon. Oh, we already went over that. Let me go down. Sorry, folks. Comment 41. One comment says that the expert testimony from the Massachusetts hearing supports JRC's argument that the GED is effective for the population whom it's used on JRC. Stop using the goddamn courts as a bludgeon, especially for Massachusetts. Let me say it for the billionth time. Your state is known around the world for one reason. One reason. I know this. I've been to England and Scotland. Salem. The Salem witch trials. Quit trying to use Massachusetts courts as a bludgeon. Judges get judgment wrong all the time. That's literally why the appeals system exists. Okay? But it's expert testimony from Massachusetts. It's a JRC employee, Karen. Do we need to explain conflict of interest to you for the billionth time? You can't sit there, but the experts say nobody recognizes the expertise of the staff at JRC except JRC. The rest of the world is too busy backing away slowly like this is a horror movie. Okay? Stop with the bullshit. You can't throw a JRC staff in there and says, but the expert from Massachusetts, it's not an unbiased third party expert. That is the FDA's point. You have not brought in an unbiased party to go in, observe, and report what they find. It's never happened, okay? Stop using it as a bludgeon. Because every single other shred of evidence says you're full of shit. You cannot put your own experts up whose paychecks you literally fucking pay as a non-biased party to speak to the effectiveness of this device, because quite literally their livelihood is on the line. What do you think they're going to say? What are you going to think they're going to say? Right? I'm so tired of this nonsense. Y'all have no idea. Let's go to the response, shall we? The FDA agrees that some expert witnesses at Massachusetts hearing testified about the beneficial effects from the GED for SIB or AB at JRC. For example, Dr. Susan Snickman, a clinician, testified that she observed improvements in the behaviors of many JRC residents after gaining treatment with the GED, and Dr. Phil Lewandowski, another clinician, acknowledged in the testimony that there are many examples where the GED had a positive impact on a JRC resident. If those names sound familiar, kids, they should, because those two clinicians that are brought up work for the JRC. Okay? So, again, what did I just say? What did I just say? If it is literally your center whose ass is on the line, you can't use the experts who work for said center, whose paychecks you pay, and use them as experts saying, see, they can prove it. Are you smoking crack? Is crack what you smoke? Because, mother of God, it certainly seems that way. Let's move forward, shall we? Jesus. Further, clinicians Dr. Mickelson stated, and Dr. Zarcone confirms that in many cases there was rapid deceleration in SIB after the use of the GED, with problematic behaviors decreasing from hundreds per day to zero in a very short period of time. Jesus Christ! We get the point that it stops the action when the action is occurring. No one is arguing that. JRC is having a whole other argument going on with the wall. Right? Nobody is saying it doesn't stop the behavior in its tracks. Sudden violence out of nowhere tends to have that effect. But again, the ends do not justify the means. The means cannot provide a solution with any form of longevity. We're still back at square one here. Okay? But your behaviors went down to zero. Yeah, that's what happens when you're abused. Let me give you an example. When I was a kid going through all that horrific shit with my stepbrother, I was the most best behaved kid out of the four of us. My grades were good. I wasn't going around with my friends doing stupid shit. I would do what I was told when I was told to do it, and I would do it correctly the first time, which is quite a feat when you're an autistic, by the way. It's a feat of engineering. Okay? So, my point is, in a situation of abuse, if you feel by showing them what they want to see that the violence against your person is going to stop, guess what you're going to do? Now, pretending and wearing that mask is not solving the problem, it's putting a band aid on it. It's the equivalent of putting a band aid on a surgical wound, right? Instead of stitches. That's the point. It doesn't matter if it stops behaviors. It doesn't matter that it goes to zero because it's a manufactured mask that this person pulled out of their ass so that you could leave them alone. Literally, all of us who've been through abusive situations have our very first mask we crafted specifically for that reason. It's a survival mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. It is a thing that we have developed that we're trying now to go back on and get rid of as a means of survival. Okay? problem is you can only pretend for so long. You can only hold character for so long. The mask can only stay on for so long. So even though you say that the behaviors got reduced to zero, what do we see in the paperwork? Resurgences of that behavior later down the road. Because threat of violence can only go so far. There's no longevity to it. And if you need any more examples, for the love of fuck, look at us 90s kids. We are the last generation of kids that got the belt or got spanked. Did that stop a single one of us from doing incredibly dangerous, stupid shit? No. In fact, it kind of poured gasoline on the fire. Because down the road, almost out of vindictive spite, we do something even more dangerous and more insane. And did we stop? No. You know what eventually did stop us? The same thing that stops everyone: age. Okay? There is no longevity that you are going to get from inflicting violence on a human being. You'll get an immediate response. You'll get a mask for sometimes even extremely long periods of time, but eventually it's gonna come back. In fact, if we want to talk reality here, even with the best treatment programs cutting edge in the world, those behaviors are going to come back at some point. That is the nature of our diagnosis. Anybody who tells you different is trying to sell you a pipe dream. Live in reality with me. Do the work. That is what ultimately gets results. It's not quick, it's not easy, it's not fast, there's no instant gratification. But the results are the most long lasting. It's not a cure us of all of our behaviors. What it does is it allows us to work in a way with others after clearly understanding what's triggering those type of behaviors to find reasons to work on it. So it will be a 9 out of 10 situation instead of 8 out of. You see where I'm going here, right? It should go without saying. It doesn't matter if it reduces it to zero in that moment. There's no longevity. It is torture for torture's sake. And the fact of the matter is, the fact that we know we've had people put on the GED 4 and that it did nothing to decrease behaviors. And immediately, when they were put in another program that did not involve violence against their person, they automatically start doing better. That should speak all the volumes, all the volumes, all of them. And that pretty much covers it, folks. We're going to go ahead and close out. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time. You know the drill, folks. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to utilize those comments. I appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you again here in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.